I built this AI system to repurpose our company's high-performing blog posts into searchable YouTube videos. The result? Over 100 CoinLedger blogs converted into videos that have reached hundreds of thousands of viewers and driven thousands of paying customers into our crypto tax software. If your company has been investing in SEO for years, you're sitting on a content goldmine. Those blogs already rank for qualified keywords and attract buyers, but they're invisible on YouTube, the second largest search engine in the world. Before AI, turning blogs into videos was painful. Scripting, filming, editing, publishing, all manual, but this workflow cuts out 80% of the grunt work. With tight prompting and human-in-the-loop systems, we've automated the process from blog to video script to filming to final upload to YouTube. In this video, I'll show you exactly how we built it and how you can do the same to scale your own brand's YouTube presence using your existing blog library. All right, let's jump into the demo. All right, here we go, jumping into the demo for this blog to video workflow. Now, quick aside, this process, the human in the loop step, is just as important as the automation itself. Actually more important in this case. But this workflow is a great example of how focusing both on the AI automation component of a workflow as well as refining the human in the loop process can create magic outcomes. So let me outline the problem at a high level. One company that I run that I started many years ago is a cryptocurrency tax software platform called CoinLedger. CoinLedger generates an immense amount of traffic with its blog by ranking on search engines, so through SEO, for relevant keywords that people are searching for, like what crypto tax forms do I need? Then our content ranks on these search engines. People learn about what crypto tax forms do I need, and then they sign up for CoinLedger. This is a go-to-market motion that thousands of software companies, service companies, and many companies use, right? They put out blog content to rank on search engines for keywords that their target audience is searching for. Now, the thing with a business like CoinLedger is we have hundreds of blog posts that we've written over the past 7 years. And this content library is a massive asset. And a lot of the asset value can get much, much further unlocked by leveraging AI. Because back in the day, if we wanted to take this same content and repurpose it to long form YouTube, short form video, various tweets, Reddit threads, you name it, we had to have a human and pay them a good amount of money, right? A marketing teammate to do that work. Now we can repurpose our entire content library of blog content, learn content, and educational content that millions of people are searching for and bring it to the second largest search engine on earth, which is YouTube. You can see here videos like how to avoid crypto taxes in the UK here on YouTube have 56,000 views. This video was repurposed from a blog post. UK crypto taxes explained, 8,000 views. The 5 best crypto wallets, 10,000 views. All of this content repurposed from our massive blog library. So let's show a specific example. This content piece, crypto tax forms, what you need for 2025. Let's say someone searches that term on YouTube. Now they come across our short form video that's explaining the 4 crypto tax forms that you need, and it's of course referring people into CoinLedger. Now take this video repurposing strategy and multiply it across your entire content library, and you can see how that's going to generate thousands, potentially hundreds of thousands of qualified impressions on your content. With that, let's jump into this relatively simple automation. We start with a form trigger, which is just pasting in a URL of a blog post that you want to repurpose. So here we go, we're gonna execute the workflow. We're gonna paste in the blog post that we wanna repurpose into video content, and we're gonna submit that. Then Firecrawl is gonna scrape all the content from that page and feed it into these 2 tracks, which is going to build short form video scripts and long form video scripts. We can drill into the prompting here, powering this short form video script generator. So you are an expert financial content creator and short form video strategist for CoinLedger. Your task is to take the following CoinLedger blog post and transform it into a short form TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Reels video script. I want you to apply these goals and guidelines, a bunch of guidelines, optimized for the primary keyword the blog is targeting, so the video ranks for this keyword across TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Google. That's very important. Hook strategies, we task it to give us 3 different options for every script so that our human in the loops can pick the best one, or do all 3, and we'll just launch all 3 of those videos. By the way, if you want to snag the prompts powering these workflows, you can download them for free by joining our AI Automation Mastery School community. Thousands of other people are in here, and all you're going to do is go to the n8n template that you want to get the full download template for, click on that post, and then download the JSON file. And then you'll be able to upload the n8n template into your n8n and use all the prompts to power your work streams. Once that prompt executes, it's going to post it into a Slack channel where we can read through all of the scripts that it generated. Here it's generating 3 different variations for short form video. The same happens on the long form side. You're an expert financial content creator and YouTube strategist for CoinLedger. Your task is to create 4 to 5 minute YouTube video scripts to educate beginner crypto investors while naturally demonstrating CoinLedger's values, core objectives, target audience voice, content quality standards. Accuracy is non-negotiable. Maintain 100% technical accuracy. We're a tax company providing. So you get it. Very long prompt to power a 5-minute YouTube script. This also gets posted to Slack, which then kicks off the human in the loop process. Okay, so we have the high quality video scripts, but to truly scale this across your entire or text content library, you need really tight human in the loop processes to take that script and turn it into a high quality video. So step 1, you or someone on your team needs some sort of studio setup. It doesn't need to be fancy. The setup that I run maybe costed $1,000 and you could do it for much cheaper. And the setup is a camera, a teleprompter, simple lighting, and a microphone. With this setup, I can immediately take the scripts that Claude wrote from this automation, bring it to the teleprompter, sit down in the chair, and rattle off 10 videos in literally 30 minutes. Next, you need a talented video editor. I would recommend trying to recruit someone who has experience with long form YouTube content out of India. I would do this by searching for video editors across Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and I would send a lot of outreach messages and ask to see editors' portfolio of content that they've worked on. A great strategy for recruitment could be identifying Indian influencers and finding the folks who are editing their content and then directly outreach to them. Once you have a few talented editors on the bench, send them each a test video to edit where you're just sending them the A-roll script of you speaking into the teleprompter and tell them to edit it. You want to find high quality editors so that the editing process can be extremely hands off. And eventually you want to be able to get to this automation, sit down, film your script. A week later, you get a video back from your editor and then you scale that up. And every single day you're getting new video content back from your editors until you have 1-to-1 parity from YouTube with your blog. All right, lastly, before we jump into the node by node breakdown, if you're a software company or any company that's in a similar situation where you have hundreds of content pieces that already get a ton of traffic and you want to turn this into high quality YouTube content, but you don't want to go through the process of setting up this automation, building your own video studio, and recruiting the necessary video editors to bring this process to life, our agency here at The Recap can handle it for your brand if it's a good fit. We handle the script writing automation process that you see here in n8n. Our team will film the content for your brand and edit it end to end. So you're just getting high quality video output that you can post to your YouTube and other social channels. So if you want our agency and our bench of video editors to handle this process for you, reach out by filling out the form linked in the video description here. All right, and with that, let's jump into the node by node breakdown with Lucas.
All right, let's get started here with a simple system overview for our blog to video script automation we're going to be building and going through together. This is a pretty simple automation at its core, not with a ton of different nodes, but honestly, it's an incredibly powerful one for our business. Here at CoinLedger, we've been able to use this to really scale up the number of videos we're able to produce on a weekly basis by following a format we're able to kind of back into. So let's get started here with what is going to be the input and trigger to this whole system. Just like what we covered in the demo, the goal of this is to be able to go from a URL on our blog, whether it's under our Learn section or one of our main blog posts like this, copy this URL, paste it into our system to go ahead and kick things off. And so we're taking a single URL from our own blog to start this whole automation. After that's done, we're going to make use of Firecrawl, which is a scraping platform that allows us to go from a URL into well-formatted markdown content. That's going to be really easy for LLMs like Claude, ChatGPT, and Gemini to all work with when doing further processing on it. Since we're doing a repurposing content workflow here, where we go from blog posts to one or more video scripts, getting that data into markdown format is perfect for our use case. So after we get that data scraped from the inputted URL, the next thing we do is fan out into 2 different paths here for the amount of repurposing we want to do. And in our case, we're keeping it pretty simple and we're writing 3 short form video scripts with different hook angles, kind of following guidelines we've set in place for TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts. And then on the bottom path that we fan out here, we're going to take that same blog content that we scraped and go ahead and write a full YouTube video script breaking down the title, description, metadata that we need to get included in the description, as well as kind of following our best practices we've established for intros, the hook, and the core content we want to cover. So that covers it here for the system overview. Let's dive into the n8n build. Let's jump into n8n here and go ahead and kick off the full automation running end to end. That way we can see what data looks like flowing through this entire system. So I'm going to go ahead and come over to our blog, grab this How Are Meme Coins Taxed blog post, and then we're going to execute this automation and paste that in. So we'll grab that URL, paste it in here, this meme coin tax blog post, submit it, and that's going to kick everything off. If I pull up our form trigger we've configured here, we can see this is dead simple. We just have a single form element we're going to call URL. It's a text element, and we're just going to go ahead and mark this as required. So we can see from our run, we have our CoinLedger blog meme coins tax URL pasted in here, and that all looks good. The next step we got to get into is going to be one of the built-in community nodes using Firecrawl, where we actually scrape the provided URL. And so what I'm going to do is make sure that I have my Firecrawl credential set up here. And if you don't have this connected, it's really easy to do. So if you are setting this up for the first time, click on Create Credential. And you're going to see here, we need to specify an API key. So let's go over to our Firecrawl homepage at firecrawl.dev. Navigate to the dashboard, make sure you're logged in, and then you're going to be able to copy the API key right here, which is all you need to get up and running using Firecrawl. So paste that in, save your credential, and then you're going to be able to go forward authenticating all requests into the built-in Firecrawl node. So I've already set this up on my own, and so I'm just going to use that existing credential I have here. Make sure that you select the one you just saved. The next thing we have to set up is going to be our operation. Come down here, click on Scrape a URL and get its content. This is going to call into the simple scrape endpoint that Firecrawl provides, which allows us to go from a URL here back into well-formatted markdown content that we see on the right-hand side. This is ideal for working with LLMs because it gives us clean, easy data that doesn't have all of the extra HTML characters that is going to really up the token count and the context window when working with AI models. Next step is we have to provide our URL that we want to scrape. This is really easy to do since our first node was a form trigger, so we can use an expression, double brackets, and go json.url. So if we open this up, we're going to see that same URL gets passed into here as input that we want to scrape. Since it's a pretty simple scraping use case, you don't really need to deal with parsers or scrape options or even using a custom body. But if you do find yourself hitting issues with maybe you're not getting back the data you would expect, or maybe it's a slow loading website, I would highly encourage you to explore the Firecrawl docs by coming back to Firecrawl, clicking on docs, and then you're going to be able to go to the API reference and click on scrape on the left-hand side. And then you're going to be able to see all of the different options available on how to scrape data in a format you need back from whatever URL you're passing in. For most cases, you're not going to need to change this, but if you need to do something, for instance, say wait for the page to load a little bit longer before fetching content, maybe it's a JavaScript heavy page that has a lot of elements loading dynamically, this is how you do it. Same with mobile, verification, or any other parsers you really need to provide. Maybe you're even trying to parse a PDF. That's how you set it up here. So we're not going to get into that for now. We're going to stick to the simple defaults in this use case. Let's go back to the automation here and look at the output. Like we covered from before, really two key components we need to look at on this Firecrawl scrape a URL and get its content output. One is going to be success. This is going to be true or false depending on if the scrape operation worked. And then you're going to see this data object below here. The value we care about is data.markdown. That's going to be all of that main content extracted from the middle part here on our blog post in markdown format. So if this is an H2, a paragraph, we're going to see that this has the appropriate markdown headers applied. And we're even going to be able to see where these links go to if we need to analyze that for whatever we're doing with this content. Pretty great looking here based off of that simple scrape, and we're able to continue to the next portion. This is where we fork off and kind of fan out to the different types of video script content we want to create. In our overview here, we are fanning out to really two different paths. We're going to write some short form video scripts for TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And then down below, we're going to write a single long form YouTube video script that follows our brand guidelines. So this is something that's really completely up to you, depending on your needs, your client's needs, what you're trying to do on this kind of content repurposing workflow. We're doing just short form video scripts in YouTube, and so this makes the most sense for us. but you can add in as many or as little of these forks where you kind of fan out to different types of content that you need. Let's get started here with the short form video script and jump into this basic LLM chain call to see what's going on. If I pull this up, we're going to see that we're using a define below option here for the user message getting passed into the AI model call. And we're also going to be requiring a specific output, but I'll come back to that later. The main thing I want to cover for right now is going to be the expression we set here for the user message or the prompt getting passed into the AI model. In this case, we have a pretty customized prompt for CoinLedger, which is going to take in the scraped content we got from before. So we can see blog post input at the bottom is getting dynamically inserted. And we're going to really be breaking down some brand guidelines, required output format, and a system for our AI model to go ahead and take that blog input and turn it into 3 optimized short form video scripts for the format that has worked well for us. I'll go through some of the key points here, but I don't want to get too much into the weeds of this prompt because this is going to be looking very different for your business, your client's business, or for whatever use case you're trying to build this with. My goal with this prompt kind of walkthrough here is to give you a high level overview on how you can take it and apply it to your own use case. So I'll cover the first part here and then we can go on to the next. You are an expert financial content creator and short form video strategist for CoinLedger. Your task is to take the following CoinLedger blog post and transform it into short form TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Reels video script content. I want you to apply these goals and guidelines to write 3 unique scripts, taking different approaches so we can pick the best option ourselves. After that's done, we're going to go ahead and enumerate a couple of different goals, kind of guiding the AI model on the type of script we want to create. So we're setting things like the length of the video, how we want it to rank well on these different platforms, how we want the tone of the script to come across, a simple conversational voice, all things of that nature. Going down below, we're going to expand into the hook strategy we want the AI model to follow, kind of dictating some constraints on how we want the writing to actually get bound together by providing do examples and don't examples. And then we're going to see some kind of CoinLedger specific options here on how we want to deliver this. And so this was built through the process called meta prompting. So we didn't actually write this from scratch, but we asked Claude or ChatGPT, how can we go ahead with building a prompt according to these certain goals? And once we had that initial prompt in place, we iterated, we saw the output, we gave feedback back to Claude, and we're able to go from there. Highly recommend you actually leverage AI to go ahead and write these prompts when you're working through a kind of more complex workflow like this, where you're trying to repurpose content and are trying to hone in on your goals for what the output should be. Going further, we have some writing guidelines, and we actually break down what makes scripts work. And so these are from scripts in YouTube Shorts that we've written by hand, trying to extract some of those key insights on why it does well. So a lot of good context getting bundled together into this prompt. I'm not going to go through all of the rest of it here, but if you do want to download this prompt and explore it a little bit more yourself, make sure you click on that first link in the description of this YouTube video. It's going to take you to our school community that you can join completely for free, and then you can download this whole automation and the prompts used here. Finally, just touching on this once again, we're going to insert that blog post content we scraped from before. So all of that markdown is getting passed into this prompt we built here, and it's getting read by Claude Sonnet 4.5. So that's going to run, and you see here we have this output parser defined. And so just like I mentioned before, we are requiring a specific output format. At the top of the prompt, we're asking for 3 unique scripts, and this is how we define structured data on how the AI model needs to respond back to us. I'll pull this up and I can see that we're defining our schema type as defined using JSON schema. So underneath this, we're going to define an object with its own properties. And the main property here is this scripts array. And so each item in this array is a single string, and each string is described as an individual short form video script extracted from the results. And this means that for each execution of this AI model, we want to go and extract those 3 unique video scripts in an array that's going to be easy for us to work with later in the automation. I also like to toggle on autofix format and then wire that up to the same model here, just in case there is an error getting that to format exactly as our schema requires. This just makes your automation more reliable and prevents errors as you execute it a large number of times. After that's done, we have a couple nodes here just to clean up this data a little bit further and kind of share these results back into our internal Slack channel for us to review. So we're just going to normalize this by setting a title and outputs, just a common naming schema we've defined here on how we want this to appear. So we're calling this our short form video scripts, and we're setting our outputs right here as each of those scripts. And so you can see here illustrated a little bit better from before. After that output parser ran, we can see we have our array of scripts here in script 1, 2, and 3. This is a pretty simple set field node, and then we can continue forward with our next. We're going to share an initial message in Slack just to update this on what type of content is getting repurposed here. So we see our short form video scripts in bold here, followed by the blog post URL we tried to extract. And I can actually pull up Slack here and we can see an example of what this looks like as it runs across a number of different blogs. So we have our short form video scripts followed by the URL. And then we also see our YouTube one down below from that execution. That looks good. And we're able to continue to the next portion. After that's done, we're then going to go ahead and do another set field node here just to grab those outputs as the current item we're trying to evaluate. And then we're going to use the built-in split node to go from one item that contains an array to 3 separate items. So we have those 3 scripts here on what we're trying to grab from normalized short form videos. We're going to split those out after they get set, and so we can go from 1 to 3. We then are going to use the built-in loop node to iterate each of these 3 items and publish 3 separate Slack messages as replies back into the channel. So I'll show you what that looks like real quick, and then we'll go back to the node. So we can see we have our initial message sent, and then we're going to reply to that message with 1, 2, and 3. Each split up, easy for us to read, tweak, and then start recording and pass off to our own video editor so we can really get this content produced. Jumping back into n8n, we have our node here, which is using a batch size of 1 in order to accomplish this. And then we have another send message node here in Slack where we connect our Slack credential. We're using a message resource. We're using a send operation. We're going to send this message to a shared channel we've set up called marketing content. And then we're just going to share a simple Slack text message. The message text is going to be this current script on the output loop we're iterating over. And so each time this runs, we're going to see script 1, script 2, script 3. And so we just want to use json.outputs to grab the current script we're looking at. And then at the bottom, this is important in order to organize this nicely. We're then going to use message timestamp to reply to underneath these options in order to reply to the initial message we set up here. If you don't do this, you're going to see more messages kind of get swarmed in that isn't the easiest to read. And so by grabbing the timestamp of the previous message we sent here from sending short form message, that's going to set up a correct reply. You really have a lot of flexibility here on what you want to do with this output, but Slack just makes a lot of sense for us in our current workflows. So that's something to keep in mind too for when you're working with clients. Meet them in the middle and meet them where they're currently working, because you have a lot of flexibility in n8n on how to set this up and implement where this data is going. So that covers it here for our short form video script repurposing part of this workflow. Let's go down to the bottom part, which is going to be writing our YouTube video script. This one is a little bit different, but the same principles still apply, where we're taking that scraped markdown content from before. We're going to pass it here into a basic LLM chain call where we define our prompt as an expression. And this time, instead of writing 3 short form video scripts, we want to go 1-to-1, where we go from our blog post into a full detailed YouTube script that breaks down the intro, the title, metadata, the description, what the hook is going to look like, and what kind of B-roll needs to get supplemented over the course of this YouTube video. So our editor has a blueprint on how to take this raw recording from either myself or our other co-founder filming it into a full featured video. And so that's all happening here and is getting defined in this prompt, where we're taking that same blog input that we see at the bottom and we can see dynamically inserted here. We're just breaking down a framework on how we want these videos to get created. So I'll cover a couple of the key components of this prompt. But once again, if you want to see this full thing, make sure you join our school community by clicking on that first link in the description of this YouTube video. So back to the prompt. You are an expert financial content creator and YouTube strategist for CoinLedger. Your task is to generate a 4 to 5 minute YouTube video script that educates beginner crypto investors while naturally demonstrating CoinLedger's value. We then get into core objectives, target audience, and voice. And then we're going to be getting into even more constraints on what needs to be included in the output of this. We're specifying the target length of this video needs to be 4 to 5 minutes long. So pretty quick hitting, educational, and valuable YouTube videos on the topic we are covering. And then we're going to get into even more constraints around the quality, the script structure, like I mentioned before, like the hook that needs to get included, problem statement, main content, and then we're getting into some of the other final metadata that needs to get included, like the closing summary and any B-roll that needs to get layered in or effects that happen over the course of the video. Like I said from before as well, this is going to be the blueprint that our video editors follow when taking the raw recording from David and turning this into a YouTube video we can actually click publish on. So that covers it here for the prompt. We're keeping it simple this time and not dealing with a structured output parser. We're just going to use the raw output here on the text in order to pass this off into Slack. Next, we're then going to send that Slack message. So our built-in Slack credential, our message resource, the send operation, and we're going to send this to that same marketing content channel where we outline our YouTube video script followed by the URL. So if I come to Slack, we see YouTube video script, and then we have the URL of that same blog post. So one blog post to repurpose to multiple video content output types. Next, we're then going to go forward with adding another reply to that same Slack thread where we actually detail the full YouTube video script we wrote. So all the setup is exactly the same thing we did for repurposing our blog post to short form video scripts, where we reply to that original timestamp, where we're passing in the output of the LLM chain call. But this time, it's just for the YouTube script. So we grab the output of our YouTube script. We're going to see it appear right here. And this all gets included in a Slack message one for one. And so we can easily see the full script, breaking down timestamps, visuals included, the summary, and any other production notes that are going to be helpful for our video editor to get over the finish line. So that covers it here for our blog post to video automation that we are using here today at CoinLedger. So hope you found this valuable and are going to be able to borrow bits and pieces for this to help accelerate your own content production.
All right, before you go, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. Seriously, do it, because we're going to be breaking down all of the AI automations that we use to run all of our businesses. They're super helpful, and we're going to break down exactly how we do them on this YouTube channel. So make sure like and then subscribe, and then you'll get notified when we publish new workflows that can make your businesses run 20 times more efficiently, just like we're seeing here at the recap and the other businesses that we're running. The other item is join our school community for free. The link's in the description. You'll be able to get this template, this automation that we just ran through in this video, completely for free. You can go to school and navigate to the video that you want, and then you can download the JSON output for the n8n automation. With that, you can upload it into your n8n, clone it, and then tune it for your business and your use cases. So like and subscribe, join our free community to get this automation for yourself, and we'll see you in the next video.